It's been a few days now since the Battlefield 2042 beta ended, and I honestly can say that I had a real good time playing the game. I actually miss jumping on and playing the game, and I didn't think I'd miss it that much, but I really do. I know there's been a lot of people who have just come out and said how much they hated the beta, how it's not a true Battlefield game, and whilst I do think that there are some things which weren't great, I enjoyed the overall experience. However, in today's video, I'm going to be covering the top 5 things that I think need to be changed, really, and most likely can be changed moving from the beta to the official release. The gameplay in the background today is some mishmash of BF4 and BF1. BF4 just feels like I never left, having a lot of fun with the F2000 running around and gunning people down with that. And BF1 gameplay, not a game I've played a huge amount of, so a bit rusty on it, but after a bit of a rough start, we absolutely start popping off and I think save the game. So hopefully enjoy that gameplay as we go through today's video. But before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Ace Defender. Ace Defender is a high-quality SRPG masterpiece combining authentic turn-based RPG battles with tower defense elements. The game has a traditional RPG single-player storyline with over 40 chapters and nearly 2,000 levels to play through. The story goes like this: a rebellion in the Dragon Clan threatens the balance of good and evil in the world. Our heroine, Elipida, the Silver Dragon Princess, escaped with the Creation Crystal to the human lands. There, she awoke the Creation Crystal and summoned heroes to fight evil with your help. In the game, there are 5 hero factions: Divine, Demon, Shadow, Nature, and Light, with deep hero background stories. Starting with 48 heroes, there are 2 new heroes released every 2 weeks. You can level up, combine heroes, and equip gear to create a powerful lineup. There are many different ways to play. You've got Expedition, which is the main solo mode, the PvE mode where you can explore dungeons and regions, engage in trials, and level up your heroes to collect rare items, and of course PvP fights against other players within your server or across different servers with multiple lineups. Also, as this is a mobile game, you can play the game at 1, 2, or 4 times speed to get the gameplay sped up or slowed down to how you want it. New users right now who download the game from my link in the description will get 10 Royal Recruit tickets after completing level 2-8. You can use these tickets by clicking on the Sky City, going to Tavern, then Recruit 10 times to open up and see who you get. Let's see who I get from my pools. Okay, let's see what I got from my 10 packs. Ooh. And my rare is Undead Knight Hovid. He looks absolutely awesome. I'm definitely going to put him in my comp. For sure. Ace Defender has already become part of my daily routine, so as I said, head to the link in my description, get the game, get your 10 Royal Recruit tickets, and produce the best team you can get. So the first thing I think that actually can be changed and can be sorted, and hopefully will be sorted in some way, is the UI in general, especially when you're in-game. The kill feed, the scoreboard, generally what's on your screen, it just really isn't prioritized well at all. And this is weird because I feel like Battlefield has always done very well with the general UI, being able to see what you need to see when you need to see it. But in this game, priorities have shifted all over the place for some reason, and it's not great. When you've captured a sector, even if it's a sector that you're not near, you have this massive bar that appears over the top of your screen. It's very ugly. I found it really jarring. To me, it looked like something which was like a beta, just like hotfix thing that they just chucked in there to have something in there in that build. But the more I was playing, the more I was like, is this actually what this is going to be like? I'm hoping not, because having captured sectors be this massive thing which you can't miss and it distracts you like hell, but then not being able to understand the kill feed that easily, when the kill feed's actually something which I would like to see. I'd like to see who I killed, I'd like to potentially see ranges, I'd like to see everything very, very easily. It's all kind of there, but it's very, very hidden, it's hard to see, it's not very obvious, and I do not like it. The scoreboard as well is just something which I don't understand how you can mess that up. I prefer the idea of just being able to see my overall team and kind of where I am on it, because sometimes when I'm playing casually, I want to see if I'm top ranking, I want to see how I'm doing, I want to see what my score is, I want to see how many kills I've got, I want to see just overall how the flow of the game is going, and currently the scoreboard in the beta just was not providing that. It was showing me like what my squad was doing and then some other weird info. Yeah, I didn't really like it. One thing I do like, and I'll add to the end of this, is that when you capture points, when you are capturing them, the little numbers of how many people are on each team that are showing, I did like that actually a lot. I think that's something they did now. So there are some shining points of the UI, but overall, the UI was not great, and hopefully it gets fixed by the time the full release comes out. Secondly, let's talk about the Plus system. I will say this. I think the Plus system's great. I think that the idea of being able to change attachments when the situation changes in the battle, maybe you've moved from an area which is a bit more close quarters, and then it's like, oh crap, now I've got to kind of cover a bit more distance. You know, as long as the guns are balanced in a way where you don't have this one-size-fits-all gun, depending on the attachments, that's kind of what we ended up with in in a Modern Warfare and Warzone. But in Battlefield, as long as it's balanced in a good way, having the Plus system really empowers the player to carry out different situations without needing to redeploy, change their class up, and go back in. Many people completely misunderstood the system. People thought that every attachment on the gun was in the beta and that your Plus system was everything the gun had, and people were like, oh my god, how does an AR have 2 barrels or 3 barrels? This is insane. But no, I'm assuming the way it's going to work, and I think it's going to work, will be that you'll have your big list of attachments like you have done in Battlefield for years in the modern style Battlefield games like 3 and 4. You'll have those, and then you'll be able to assign them to your Plus system and maybe have like 3 things on each end of the Plus on the 4 different bits that come out. And I think it's a really, really good idea, but there are some problems with it. The main problem, I really think, in my opinion, is the idea that you can just do it all a bit too quickly. I don't like the idea you can be in a fight and just very quickly, if you're good enough, you know, with the mouse and keyboard or the controller, however you're doing it, you can really quickly just change your attachments on the fly. I feel like there should be a bit of like a cooldown of how quickly you can do it, or potentially a bit of an animation or something, so you have to get somewhere safe and then change your sight. Maybe if there was like an actual animation, I don't think that's going to happen, but just something which makes it take a bit longer so it's not as simple to do. The other thing is this issue where you can basically just change your ammo type and you get all your bullets back, so you don't need to reload. This is just stupid. I feel like it's a bug, probably not meant to be in the game like that, but you can fire out the whole mag of like a really, really fast firing, I think it was the Vector, can't remember what the gun was called in the game, but it was basically a Vector SMG, and you could just dump all the ammo out of it and then swap ammo to the other type, and then you have all your ammo back and you just continuously fire through people. It's not a good idea for that to be there, and I'm assuming that will be fixed, and it definitely needs changing. Third one's a big one, optimization, FPS, netcode. Now, I wasn't expecting this to be the best in the beta, but I was running into all sorts of weird issues, and I didn't run into that many issues overall, I just ran into some. I had one of my friends who was playing the game, and he was having all sorts of issues, and his PC's just as good as mine, but he was having all sorts of things where textures were just not loading at all, falling through the ground at times. I had that happen. I had the birds that were flying around in the sky get in the way at my level. It's like all this really weird stuff, and I know these are things which you could just put them down to, oh, it's a beta, but you know, the game's coming out fairly soon, and this game needs to be optimized well. There were general stuttering and FPS issues which I would experience at random times, even with dialed-in settings, and it didn't seem to relate to what was actually happening on the screen. It wasn't like, you know, I would expect that when the tornado comes in, or when the rocket was lifting off on the orbital map which we were playing, that maybe that would cause FPS problems, but it didn't. That stuff actually looked and ran incredibly well, and I was really impressed. But I would just be randomly running across like a field, and then I would just stutter all over the place. My guy would appear halfway in the ground, and then I'd end up trying to fight someone, and I couldn't because the game wasn't just running as I needed it to. So I think this is something which will hopefully be fixed, if not at release, hopefully soon after release, because I mean this is a Battlefield release, so it's likely to have performance issues on release. We will see. I'm hoping this one definitely gets changed moving forward. The penultimate change I would really like to see, and I was really disappointed to see this not really working in the beta, was the ping system. Now, I don't think Battlefield has ever really had that in-depth of a ping system. It's mostly just being able to kind of spot enemies. It's more of a spotting than a pinging system. But I thought that in 2021, with a kind of a near future Battlefield style game, that we would actually get a good ping system. You know, I'm talking something maybe similar to Apex Legends. You know, that's another game published by EA, and I thought that potentially we could have got something like that where we can ping you know, attack here or defend here, or I'm moving here, just something so that when I'm playing in a squad I can let my teammates know. Even just saying there's enemies here, guys, there's a load of enemies coming over this hill. The whole system didn't seem to work. I would do a ping, but it wouldn't show for anyone else, and then it would just disappear for me. I feel like this is probably once again a beta issue and not really something which we need to worry about, and it will be fixed. But I have to point it out because without a good ping system in a 64v64 player game, we're going to have problems, because you're just going to have people coming from all over the place that you don't know where they're coming from, and it's not going to be a fun time. And the final one, this is a big one, a big change to the Battlefield formula for this year. Bots. We got bots, which seem to have been making an appearance in a lot of different games for a while now. Now, I'm not against bots. You know, I understand why they're there. We've got 64 versus 64 player servers now, and you're not always going to have 64 players on either team. I would rather have bots be filling up some of those empty spaces than end up with like a 40v40 game. You know, the map, one of the big complaints, and I wasn't going to cover it in this video because we only had one map, but one of the big complaints was the map was just so big, and even with 64 players on either side, it sometimes felt a bit empty in some places. Now imagine if there weren't bots, it would feel absolutely barren if you ended up down to like 40 players on each team. However, the bots were absolutely stupid. Really, really dumb. They just kind of run around like cannon fodder. They're pretty much always easy to kill. There'll be these random times that they would be insane and they would just like lock onto you and kill you from a mile away, and you'd be like, oh my god, a bot killed me. But most of the time I would see bots get in a jeep or something and then drive across the map into the middle of the road. Then as soon as they saw any enemies, they would all just get out the jeep and stand still looking around and not shooting. They seem very buggy. I would like for them to find a way that the bots can... They're never going to match a real player, but just some way that it brings it all a bit more, a bit tighter, the whole system, because I didn't like the idea where I was in a mindset of kind of seeing an enemy and being like, is that a bot or is that a person? Because it would change kind of how I play it. If it's a bot, I might feel like I can do more, whereas if it's a player, I play more conservative. I don't want those kind of things going on in my head. I just want to play the game, and where every enemy I see, I can play around them based on their specialist, based on their gun, not based on the fact that they're a bot or an enemy. So it's going to be a hard thing for them to dial in, but they went down the route of deciding they want bots in the game, so they need to work properly. Anyway, guys, I want to get your opinions on what you thought of the Battlefield 2042 beta now that it's ended. Are you guys looking forward to the game? Are you picking up the game if you just decided, nope, not playing it, didn't like it at all? Let me know down in the comments below. It would be great to get some conversation going on Battlefield 2042. I'm overall looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to be picking it up on release. I've got the early access release for it, so be sure to be around on the channel when that game drops in late November. But until then, we're going to be doing a lot more videos covering the game, covering some other Battlefield titles as well, going back and playing some previous Battlefield games. I'm enjoying playing the whole series at the moment, so yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.